This video is a part of a series of videos that is intended to provide the sport of obedience with a clear explanation of the individual obedience exercises, procedures, and scoring. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that you'll be notified when we have a new video. In this video, we will discuss the utility signals exercise. In Utility A, this is the exercise that starts the class. The order of exercises is always the same, and it is order 1 of the 6 orders in Utility B. All utility exercises are performed off-leash. In order to master this exercise, it is important that the handler understand the regulations. While the regulations are not particularly entertaining, they must be read and studied in order to be successful. The signals exercise is essentially a combination of a healing exercise and a signals exercise. In AKC Regulations, Chapter 5, Section 3, we are told that there are 40 points available for this exercise. The team must retain more than 50% of the points available in the exercise, or 20.5 points in order to qualify. The principal features of this exercise are the ability of the dog and handler to work as a team while healing, and the dog's correct response to the signals to stand, stay, down, sit, and come. The judge's orders for this exercise are you ready? This is a query. The judge will then order forward, then various turns, a fast, a slow, and halts. The next orders are stand your dog, leave your dog. The judge will then give a signal to down the dog. After that, the judge will give a signal to sit the dog. Then the judge will give the order to call the dog to the front position. Finally, the judge will give the order to finish the dog and say exercise finished. This is a statement. We will watch this exercise in its entirety, and then we will break it down into its elements, common errors, and scoring.
Release, place it on a chair. Signal exercise. Are you ready?
Ready.
Forward. Left turn. Fast. Normal. Right turn. About turn. Left turn. Halt. Forward. About turn. Slow. Normal. About turn. Stand your dog. Leave your dog. Exercise finished.
Now let's take a look at the regulations, how the exercise is to be performed, and the scoring. The exercise will begin with the handler and dog in heel position at a place designated by the judge. This portion of the exercise matches the heel-free exercise in the open class, with the exception that there is no figure
Forward.
8. The
Left
judge
turn.
will inquire, "Are you ready?" On an affirmative
Fast.
response, the judge will order forward.
Normal.
The handler will give the
Right
dog a
turn.
signal to heel. The judge will order various
About
turns and a
turn.
halt as the team proceeds. During the healing
Left
portion
turn.
of the exercise, the handler is to use only signals to command the dog.
Halt.
If, however, they mistakenly give a command instead of a
Forward.
signal, a substantial penalty would be applied, but
About
not an
turn.
NQ. The judge will have chosen a point at which he or
Slow.
she will give the order, stand your dog. The handler will signal the dog to
Normal.
stand. The handler may not touch the
About
dog nor the
turn.
dog's collar. The dog must stand
Stand your
on the
dog.
first
Leave your dog.
signal. This begins the positional portion of the exercise. Any unauthorized signal or verbal command will result in a non-qualifying score. After standing their dog, the judge will order, "Leave your dog." The handler will leave their dog after giving a signal to stay. The handler will walk to the other end of the ring and turn and face the dog. From this point forward, the judge and the handler will use only signals to order the handler or the dog to act. The judge will signal the handler to down the dog, then sit the dog, followed by a signal to call the dog to front. Dogs occasionally move forward during the signals exercise. Slight movement, particularly if it's related to the dog's style and standing or sitting, should not be penalized. However, the movement forward can constitute the dog leaving its place, in which case it would be an NQ. In the normal process of standing the dog need not be standing fully. All of the dog's weight must be on its feet and legs, but the dog does not have to be standing fully erect. In the normal process of lying down, the dog's full body need not be on the floor or ground. The requirement is that all of the dog's weight be off of its feet and legs. Some deep-chested dogs lie down with space underneath their elbows. This is still considered a down. Finally, the judge will signal the finish. Once the dog is back in heel position, the judge will state, "Exercise finished." The handler must wait until the judge gives this instruction before releasing the dog. Occasionally, the handler is turned or turns the team so that they are off-center at one end of the ring. There is no requirement that the dog or handler be in the center of one end of the ring. If the handler has stood the dog off-center at one end of the ring, they may proceed directly to the opposite end of the ring at a position opposite the dog. Handlers may give one signal to cause the dog to act. When a dog misses a signal, the handler may be tempted to repeat their signal. This should be scored as an NQ. Handlers that give a third or more signals may be determined to be training in the ring. This could result in the team being released. Handlers must avoid a signal that includes unnecessary movement or body language. This will be scored according to the significance of their actions. Examples of this might be bending down or twisting the body as the handler gives the down signal. A penalty could result, including an NQ for aiding the dog. Now let's talk a little bit about signals. Typically, the judge will demonstrate his or her signals before the beginning of the exercise as a courtesy. He or she may only demonstrate the signals to the first handler or may demo them after showing the heeling pattern before the class begins. Some judges may demo the signals for every team, but this is not required. Judges are not required to use standardized signals. It is important to watch the first team's performance and attend to the judge's signals. The handler, likewise, is not required to use any particular signal as long as the signal meets the requirements of Chapter 2. A signal is given with the handler in the natural position. It is given with one arm and hand on the same side. The signal starts from the natural position, extends to the end of the signal, and immediately returns to the natural position. The handler's signal should be fluid. Slow, halting, or elaborate signals may be scored to the point of non-qualifying. We will look at good and bad examples shortly. The handler's signal should immediately follow the judge's signal. While the above is always true, handlers may be faced with a situation that requires a tactical decision on their part. Hypothetically, a situation arises where a judge gives the signal, the order, to the handler. At that very moment, the dog looks away. Clearly, the dog cannot respond to a signal that it does not see. The handler must make a choice as to whether or not to pause and wait until the dog looks at them and then give the signal or proceed with a signal to which the dog cannot respond. Most experienced handlers would wait and throw themselves on the mercy of the judge. Most, if not all, judges would understand the dilemma and apply a penalty short of an NQ. The following demonstrations will illustrate those signals which would be acceptable and those which may incur a penalty. We will now review the penalties associated with the signals exercise. Penalties are levied when the dog or the handler violates a specific portion of the regulations, a violation of the dog show rules, or the judge's image of perfection that is derived from the regulations. First, it's important to understand that the judge must carry a mental picture of the theoretically perfect performance for each exercise and score each dog and handler against this standard. This perfect picture must comply with the regulations and shall combine the utmost in willingness, enjoyment, and precision on the part of the dog with naturalness, gentleness, and smoothness on the part of the handler. In an attempt to help the handler understand where they lost points, it is not necessary for the judge to be able to point to a specific regulation in that explanation. Now a word about our volunteers. In order to illustrate the penalties presented here, many of the situations shown are staged. These images are not reflective of any of the team's normal performances. They were kind enough to allow us to record training or staged errors to enhance the viewer's understanding. We will start with those errors that will result in a non-qualifying score. The handler cannot give an audible command during the signals portion of the exercise.
Sit.
The dog must respond correctly to the signal given by the handler. The handler may give one signal only to the dog during the signal portion of the exercise. The dog may not move a significant distance from the place where it was left. The dog must not anticipate the handler's signal and act on its own. Those requirements in Chapter 3 regarding recall and heel free apply to this exercise as well. In looking at an error which is required to be a substantial penalty, the handler may not utter an audible command which is given during the heeling portion of the exercise. The judge will determine if the audible sound equates to a command. Now, those errors which would require a minor to substantial penalty. A minor to substantial penalty will result if the dog walks forward on the stand, down, or sit, but does not go a substantial distance. A minor to NQ may result in the event that the handler holds or delays a signal after the judge's order. The handler must respond to the judge's order without delay. Any penalty associated with a delay will depend upon the degree to which it was an aid to the dog.
Left turn. Stand your dog. Leave your dog.
Penalties are determined by applying the requirements of the regulations against the degree of discrepancy. In other words, when it says in the regulations that a penalty must be applied, the degree of inconsistency with the regulations determines the penalty. We hope that this has helped you understand this exercise. Please like, subscribe, and share this video so that others can learn as well. For other videos, you can go to the playlist by using the following QR code. Thank you for watching.